Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It's markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Monday, May 22nd, 2023. In Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, the stock market, and various other things like yields and metals and news to see how our day is starting. And since today is Monday, we're going to be seeing how our week is starting. Hello to everyone in the chat. GB first, you got it, bro. Thank you guys for tuning in, and for those who are watching the replay of this in the future from right now. So we'll go ahead and dive into what's going on in the cryptocurrency market as we get ready to start the week. The stock market is set to open in about 4 minutes from right now. Currently, Bitcoin sits at $26,791, relatively flat throughout the weekend. We have been stuck in this little range that we've been in here ever since back there, like a May 11th. So going on 11 days now of being stuck in here. Everybody kind of beating their head against the wall to say, do we go in for a capitulative plunge, or do we hold like something similar that we did back in 2019, as if we're like in something like this, and that there's one more kind of, 5-wave push to head up a little bit higher from here right now for a retracement to occur. Still just waiting on Bitcoin to give an answer in here as we continue to sit. As for XRP, still same story. Last week we were watching it get a little bit of a pop-up there, a little bit of hype news that came along with that at the exact same time as the ruling from Judge Torres came out in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit that the SEC was not going to be able to seal a lot of the things they wanted to seal in the Hinman emails. I believe our date we're waiting on now is until June 13th is how long the SEC has to file some sort of an appeal. I know there's multiple different types of appeals that they can file, but everybody's expecting we'll see the emails by June 13th. But just remember, they can also appeal at the same time. So still waiting to see how the results of that are going to pan out. Otherwise, XRP as it sits currently right now, this is really just kind of a pullback happening in here. There's been no real type of breakout. We need to see some more things happen in there to start getting super excited about that. Otherwise, we're kind of just plugging along as we should be. So we'll see how this week pans out as the bigger thing. We're getting much closer to the bigger news thing. As for Ethereum, same story, just kind of waddling along in here. Nothing has changed since last week. The stock market set to open in 2 minutes from right now. It's been jumping back and forth over here on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's down 10 points right now, so down 0.03%. Relatively flat. Nothing huge going on here in the stock market as we get ready for the day to start. When I checked earlier, let me take a look again right now. Is there anything that is making a big move in stocks? I don't see anything that is up more than 1% or anything that is down more than 1%, at least in these ones that I typically have tracked in here. Everything will still be within that range. Of course, once the market actually opens and the liquidity floods in, could go either direction. But as of right now, everything is sitting between +1 and -1 over here in the stock market before we get ready to open for the day. As for the Dow, hopefully I can catch this before the market ends up opening. Can I catch you? Weekly candle. The Dow actually ended up being green last week. How about that? Coming off of 2 relatively decent sized days last week. But still, we sit here underneath all of these retracement levels, and we'll see how this market pans out in here. I wrote a long thread over there over the weekend over on Twitter. If you guys had a chance to catch that, we'll briefly touch on that here in just a minute. But here we go. Stocks, are you open yet? No, you're going to open in 15 seconds. So, all right, we'll catch that in a minute. Gold, still the pullback happening in here, not able to get through after all those daily bearish divergences starting to emerge in here. That pullback has started, thank goodness. We've talked about it a lot. I've done a lot of comparisons. Even over the weekend, I made it public to be able to read a newsletter that I had written a while back. Let me get the title of that. Bitcoin and gold as a store of value. So I posted that on my Twitter. It's free to read throughout the weekend. Later on today, I'll have to put that back to the way it was. But if you want to catch that this morning, you can go find that link on my Twitter page. In that gold, and you know it, we've talked about it on this channel a lot. They could both fall together. That's not a big deal. The thing is, if one is going to go into a bull run, right, and it's going to break out into new highs and go into a bull run, they don't do it together. It's one or the other. Can they both fall in a liquidity event? Absolutely. We see it happen all the time. But as for one to actually be in a bull run, it's going to just be by itself. It's never both of them, ever. So to see gold pull back, it doesn't give us the clear light, the green light yet over here on the Dow just yet. But it does, like if we had that happen with gold, if we got through there, that's a really bad sign for the Dow. And I, in that long thread that I posted over there on Twitter over the weekend, it just shows that correlation of the Dow and Bitcoin. So a deep breath can be taken for now, at least over here on gold. And I think I could see that thread. I could see how much people read it. Like the first tweet of the thread has 277,000 views. And then when you get deeper into it, to see if people are actually reading into the thread, you could see some posts within the thread only have 12,000 views or 13,000 views. So I think it's still a lot of people putting their earmuffs on, putting their blinders on to think, crypto goes to moon and gold goes to moon at same time. There's no correlation of that. It's like one is a hedge against the other, is the historical behavior of gold and the historical behavior of crypto and the stock market. So, all right, we'll move on from that. I'm just excited to see that we have pulled back from here. I know a lot of people were cheering for all-time highs for gold, and at the same time, they're all long crypto. I'm sorry to tell you, this was the better thing to happen. So I'm excited that did occur. The big thing we have coming next week is we're going to be approaching that debt ceiling. That is what everybody's worries are about right now. You could see that the bond market or the treasury market, the 1-month yields are still way high. I think somebody texted me today and said, what are my thoughts on it? Just give me, what do you think is going to happen when it comes to the debt ceiling? And my thoughts on it are that I have no clue. I think my response was, I'm smart enough to realize I'm too dumb to know what will end up happening. Throughout all of the last, how many years is this? 15 years. The bond market has called the bluff on Congress every time. So, you can just see it in here. The credit default swaps, it was never insurance against a default on 1-year yields. They were right? They always raised the debt ceiling. But this time is different. This time it's even creeping up more. So it got stuck there at 150 or 1.5% for, where are you? Why are we doing this? Okay, I don't know. We got stuck at 1.5 for about 2 weeks. And then now just these past few days, we're starting to creep up even higher. So that hasn't subsided yet. And the things that would start making me optimistic is if we start seeing the 1-month yield start to pull back. That would mean that there's going to be significant buying of the 1 year or the 1-month yield. So right now, with the yield being so high, nobody wants to buy it, right? I don't want to buy it. I'm somebody who's played in the treasury yield market. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy the 2-month, 3-month, 4-month, 5-month, 6-month. I want to see what happens here and whether or not there's going to be some type of complication that comes from a default happening and then the treasury being able to pay out on these yields. And I think that's what the market is also feeling at the same time and why the 1 month has inverted everything. So if we look at, think of the logic of this. If I go buy a 10-year government bond, I get a rate of 3.69%. But if I go buy a 1-month bill, I get 5.5%. It's an upside down world right now. There's something going on in here, and there's something going on in here for me to say, I don't know what that answer is going to be of what's going to end up happening, but that the market is signaling some weird stuff is at play. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. That should we find out about that next week? So just about a week from right now. If you look over there at the Fed interest rate hike probability is currently for June 14th, we're still sitting at about 77% that we are paused on Fed rate hikes and a 23% chance that they will raise again. Typically, this is right. So anybody ever asks me, what do you think the Fed's going to do? I merely just open up CME Group, I look at it, and I say, I think they're going to do this one, the one that is what the market is pricing in. So as we get closer to that date, as we get closer to June 14th, we see this all the time. These things shift each direction all over the place. And then by the time we get to the day of the meeting, the Fed has followed along with this. It has not surprised the market. It has done what the market has priced in each time. So we'll see how this gets as we get closer. Unfortunately, right now, looking at this being 3 weeks out, we see this stuff change significantly. And we'll see what happens when we get there. I think the only way they could surprise the market would likely be if this shifted to like 50-50. If we went to 50-50, then the Fed has to kind of make up their own decision on their own, and the market could be surprised in that way because the market was also indecisive at that time. So that's where we're at in regards to the big deal coming for next week when it comes to the debt ceiling limit. If you didn't hear it, just disappointing to hear this kind of stuff. I'll play this really fast. Here is President Joe Biden talking about the debt ceiling.
I'm not going to agree to a deal that protects wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders while putting food assistance at risk for nearly 1 million Americans.
Let's play it again.
I'm not going to agree to a deal that protects wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders while putting food assistance at risk for nearly 1 million Americans.
So that is the second time now that we have heard him bring up crypto traders as part of it. It is clearly a part of the marketing going on that side of the aisle. I don't get political on my channel, but we all know it. So Senator Warren has been doing like the anti-crypto army as like a marketing message. And now that's the second time out of Biden we have heard crypto traders being discussed in this debt ceiling thing. So I'm not sure what that is all about. We'll find out. Just silly. So, all right. Otherwise, the market is just kind of, it's been stale. It's been a stale market throughout the weekend, and we're just waiting for something different to happen, right? I mean, you see Bitcoin's at 26,900. How many times did we see that last week? We've been seeing that price get printed on this board. Especially here, even from the 12th through the 14th, that was practically the price every single day. And then we keep seeing that range show up right in there. So there's really not much going on here with Bitcoin currently, and with XRP, there's nothing too thrilling to get all hyped up about. And the same thing goes for Ethereum. 2 whole weeks of boring action here in the cryptocurrency market, coming off of meme coin euphoria. So waiting for the debt ceiling, gold pullback, yields acting silly, default swaps up high, market is worried. Economic calendar, I didn't see anything too big going on here in the economic calendar, except for maybe Thursday, right? You got GDP Q1 on Thursday. Initial jobless claims, pending home sales index. I thought we saw PCE in here. Nothing else too crazy. So that's it. Enjoy the start of your new week. There's no chaos, at least out there right now. It's next week where the market is going to be a little bit dicey on how things react next week. So I've noticed some things in the market too that if you didn't read my thread, let me do this. I'll show one part of that thread. Hold on one second. Let's get here. Here we go. So looking in here, just understanding where the Dow is at right now and the stock market is at right now, is that, it's like we've come back for an A wave happening here for the Dow. And then whether or not do we have a C leg that comes up a little bit higher, as you can see happening over in here? And that are, you have A, B, C, and then you push up one time, pull back, and then you have your euphoria moment that comes in the market. And that's kind of my guess, is that we have a euphoria moment coming in this market still up next. But that is the ultimate danger level. So until that happens, it might have to be. And so I've been asked this too. I've been asked, what do you think happens with the debt ceiling? And if I always try to come up with like different scenarios in my head, which you have to be careful with, because most people create worst case scenarios and view worst case scenario to be the most probable scenario. And I think we all know people like that. And I think we can all relate to that too, of like, if you're going in for an important interview, or like for me this weekend, I went and played in a rock show. I had a drum session in a rock show. You create these scenarios in your head of like, oh man, what if I completely mess up? What if I forget my lines? That's the one you always worry about, right? Or what if somebody else completely forgets their stuff, and then that gets me lost, and then I can't figure out how to get back on track? You kind of go through that and say that's like so probable, and then you get really nervous about it. Or you're going to go in for an interview and you imagine they're going to ask you the toughest questions and you're going to look like a dingus. And the worst scenario is the most likely scenario. And so when we get to this debt ceiling thing, everybody, some people grasp onto the doom scenario happening in there. So I have to be careful to make sure I'm not doing that. But if I don't know what will happen with the debt ceiling, and these things are concerning. They're just observable, concerning things to say, this is odd, right? It's really odd that the credit default swaps are zooming so high, and it's really odd that the 1 month yields are so high and they're not giving up. And the same thing goes for the 2 month yields too. They're also really high as well, in comparison to longer duration yields. And so something weird is at play there. But at the same time, what would be, when you go back into these types of retracements, typically what happens is you get like a return to, it's called a return to normal. I think many people will know that about bubble pops, that that's just a common thing, is that you go up, you fall, and then you retrace. And I always talk about, 702 Fibonacci retracement. And before we eventually turn over, right? And this phase is typically called the return to normal phase, where most traders believe that the market is going to just continue rampaging up much higher. And so I look at the market and I say, well, where are we at right now? And like, everybody's really scared of the debt ceiling, right? So like, it's this big worry of bad news, right? And what would be an alternative way of it playing out that this is still the outcome? Like, what would be the scenario of this being the outcome happening in here without it being the debt ceiling? And usually what we'll see is retail traders will pile back in here. They're totally convinced we're going to go up much higher. And what would be the narrative for that to occur? And like, we look at where we are right now, you look at Google trend searching and everything, it's all about recession. It's all about recession. And even structurally, it just makes a whole lot of sense to go firing up like that. And what would be the narrative in that circumstance is, one, debt ceiling issues are resolved, and two, the Fed pauses. And you get both of those events happening at the same time. And then everybody thinks the Fed has paused and we've raised the debt ceiling. Has everybody in this chat room been trained psychologically by every Fed expert on Twitter that that has thumbnails on their videos with their mouths wide open as they point to a green arrow? Have they been trained that is the buy signal, right? They all have. Fed pauses, debt ceiling raised. Buy, 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 buy. But what if that is the trap? So I don't know. I'm cautious. I don't think it's going to be obvious. I think, typically black swans are not predictable. And this seems silly, too predictable, right? The debt ceiling seems too predictable. But at the same time, it's like, well, why is the bond market acting like that? Why are credit default swaps that have called the bluff every time? We are all like so confident they're going to raise that debt ceiling, but the bond market was every other time. How many of those other times were you kind of worried about it? Like the bond market never called the bluff, or the bond market always called their bluff. And this time the bond market is actually worried. So we'll see. All right. Bitcoin's price has shifted up. It's now at 27,000. Most of the market has flipped green now that the stock market is open. The Dow Jones, it's got some weird action here. Let's take a look at this. Dow Jones actually popped up almost 100 points in about 10 minutes, and then now just took it back in about 5 minutes. So weird behavior out there in the Dow this morning. Still sitting back where we kind of started. You can see the NASDAQ is still up, though. NASDAQ, you're a little behind there, guy. How about the S&P? There you go. You're coming back as well. So a little bit of pop there. Start the morning. We'll see if it holds in there. Look over there at the stocks. You can see Google's up 2%. Tesla's up 2%. Facebook's up, or Meta is up 2%. Amazon and Apple and Ford are down about 0.5%. Otherwise, mixed board, not a terrible opening. But let's go ahead and jump into the news here really quick. Stocks rise as traders monitor the debt ceiling talks. Whew. Yes. They aren't even like implying it to mean anything anymore, right? It was stocks rise as traders are optimistic about debt ceiling, or it'd be stocks fall as traders are worried. Now they just say stocks rise as traders watch. We'll see what it says when stocks fall as traders talk about the debt ceiling. And stocks rise as everybody's kind of curious. What's going on with the debt ceiling? How about that? All right, let me refresh the screen. All right. Fed's Kashkari says a June pause on rates wouldn't indicate an end to the hiking cycle. I think this is just PER, public relations. I think the big worry about pausing right now, it seems because they've been so like gentle about it all, is they want to make sure that, while the retail investor crowd thinks that rate cuts are good for markets, smart money all knows the second we start cutting, run for the hills, just run. And so, the obvious phases that come here are you go through a hiking cycle, then you go through a pause period, and then you go through a cut. And let's talk about that really fast. You raise, you pause, S hits the fan. You raise, you pause, S hits the fan. Raise, pause, S hits the fan. So we say to ourselves, all right, we've gone through raise. If we're about to go through pause, then what? S hits the fan. So how do we make people not worry about S hitting the fan, and to say, look, we know that once we pause, S always hits the fan. But just because we're pausing, it doesn't mean that we're going to stop hiking. We may still be in a hiking cycle. So don't think we're in a pausing period. Don't think we're paused, because we might still be hiking. I think that's what that is. I think that is merely damage control for those who are worried about what always happens after the Fed pauses. They go through a multi-month pause period, and then everything falls apart. So, food for thought. JP Morgan Chase raises key revenue target to $84 billion after First Republic takeover. GM will introduce an all-electric Cadillac Escalade IQ later this year. Ford announces key EV mineral deals. Okay. Nothing to talk about. They don't even have anything about the debt ceiling here on the front page. Oh, okay. Bloomberg, what you got for me? Biden-McCarthy meeting on debt limit. comes as time runs short. Traders are on alert as the debt limit deadline draws near. Goldman says Treasury will drop under its cash minimum on June 8th to 9th. So Goldman's run the math for us all to let us know it's June 8th to 9th where things fall apart for the Treasury. G7 struggles to win over nations courted by China and Russia. JP Morgan sees mild recession in the U.S. over a moderate one. Morgan Stanley says U.S. rally isn't start of bull market. I would agree. BlackRock, PIMCO. Okay, whatever. All right. Let's go back and talk about stocks really fast. What are we talking about with the Dow? Remember, we've already got the Dow already back up here, right? Get this off for people who just tuning in are like, what does all that mean? We're already back up here. We're not quite there for the NASDAQ. And if you don't know this, last week with the NASDAQ, boom, big move there for the NASDAQ. It's got its now highest price for the last year. So finally taking out its first high. Remember all of our friendly Federal Reserve expert doomers from August, September, and October when fear was at its worst. And then remember FTX. Yeah. So remember that. I hope you guys all took a lesson from that. We were consistent here on the channel, looking for the bottom to happen in there. Fear is where you find bottoms. And then YOLO, excitement, is where you find tops. But there we go. Now we're starting to creep up here on the NASDAQ, right? So exciting to see prices move to the upside, but at the same time, right? So now the NASDAQ is getting to approach its retracement levels. Not so much yet with the S&P. So the S&P still has a little ways to go in here as well. Still not taking out that August height yet. But with the Dow, we've obviously surpassed that at some point. And then with the NASDAQ, we're surpassing it currently right now. But again, with all these things, right? So everybody screams, we're not going to go into a retracement, blockchain backer. Okay. But here we go. So now we're getting back in here. So now what happens is, like, just to understand psychology. So that's why half of the stuff I'm trying to teach on my channel or talk about on my channel is we can look at these charts all we want, but then our minds start to get influenced by the people around us. And there's these huge tectonic shifts that happen in the psychology, especially on YouTube videos, the content creators that we watch. How many of them were just warning of the doom that was going to be coming in November, December, January? And then how much doom warning are you getting now? You're not getting much. We're starting to see a lot more hype videos, but we haven't really even seen a tremendous amount of hype. But to know when we get back there and everything is super hypey, I will start getting worried again. So just repeating that. It's consistent. So news. There we go. That's it. Broader news. I don't think anything in the news is really mattering right now except for the debt ceiling stuff. Okay. As for crypto news, I haven't seen anything, with Ripple. Let me look at this. We got a little bit going on over there in Ripple because John Deaton discovered something in a footnote that got him pretty optimistic. Let me pull that up. Here we go. John had stated, I think they were included, but not all referenced in the brief in the argument, but I missed this, even though I tweeted it out. Read the footnote. Exhibit 220 is part of the SEC emails. XRP is mentioned in that there are reasonable grounds XRP doesn't satisfy all Howey factors. So we go in here and read this. I can't remember where it is. Here we go. SEC lit emails. There are reasonable grounds to conclude that XRP does not satisfy all elements of the Howey analysis and is therefore not a security for the purposes of the federal securities law. This is apparently in the emails. It is more likely than not that XRP will not be considered a security and thus not be subject to regulatory oversight by the SEC. Apparently that exists somewhere in the emails. And John's like, I can't believe I've never noticed this before. It's my first time to see it. And so that's the thing that's got everybody kind of riled up on the internet right now when it comes to Ripple and when it comes to XRP. And if you don't know, you should know, but they just had the Bitcoin conference over there in Miami, Florida. I I saw a video of a guy going around asking, Bitcoin maxis or just people at the Bitcoin conference, what are your thoughts on XRP? And, a lot of the same stuff. Nah, I'm not touching that. Nah, I'm not interested. But about half the people were kind of like, I'm a little indifferent on it. Or, man, I might add it. And I found that very interesting to see that at Bitcoin, the Bitcoin conference, because I've been doing XRP related content since 2019. And it used to be in every single video that I would do. I'd get 30 or 40 comments of these people who are just fully brainwashed to repeat the same talking points. And you would hear a banker's coins, an S coin, it's a scam. You would have that repeated by all these people who it is so funny from my perspective as a YouTube content creator to see comments and that how many people are brainwashed. You wouldn't think that would be true, but they are, because I will see the same exact lingo and wording come out of so many people. It's like, you are absolutely brainwashed. That is crazy. Like you regurgitate the exact same lingo that other people regurgitate. You did not come up with that by yourself. You are, and that's also the 12Kers. The 12Kers were all regurgitating the same thing. To this day, none of them will admit where they got that from, where they all got this magical 12K number from. They'll never admit it. But yeah. Okay. So anyway, the point of that was, dude, they're sitting on the sidelines, man. They will FOMO in. Bring it. Bring your Bitcoin monies on over. We'll take it. All right. Responsible AI can create policies to help better serve society. It's Bitcoin Pizza Day. We do this every year. Why do we celebrate this still every year? That is cool. All right. The pepperoni on the first pizza. Okay. Wife finds husband's Bitcoin stash amid divorce proceedings. Yeah, in this day and age, man, I doubt you can hide that stuff. I mean, you're taking a risk. Just saying, private. I like privacy coins. Bitcoin set to tick by the end of 2023. Whatever that means. Biden won't accept debt deal protecting crypto traders. Yeah, we played that a minute ago. If you guys want to hear that again, my goodness. Come on, dude. We're going to play it again. We're not political on this channel, guys, but we will definitely acknowledge the president saying something like this.
I'm not going to agree to a deal that protects wealthy tax sheets and crypto traders while putting food assistance at risk for nearly 100, well, assuming nearly 1 million Americans.
So, that's cool. These 4 altcoins should be ready for an up move if Bitcoin rallies above 27,500. All right, so should we find out what Cointelegraph thinks the altcoins are that we should be buying? They say XRP, Litecoin, RNDR, and CFX. There you go, guys. These are the 4 altcoins you should be ready for an up move if Bitcoin rallies above 27,500, according to Cointelegraph. XRP, Litecoin, RNDR, and CFX. I will agree with that one. I'm unknown on the others. The other one was XRP, by the way, for those who are driving their trucks, man. Some of you guys, I know it. You're just sitting there. You can't look at the screen. You're just listening to me chat. Dude, you rock. All right. Other news. CoinDesk. Bitcoin sees tightest price range in months. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Polygon co-founder on Web3 Outlook. Bitcoin's trading range narrows to the tightest in months. Yeah, I agree. Like we said, it's been boring, right? Price action has been boring. There's not a lot to say about price action this morning, as we've been in this range since the 11th. 2 weeks, right? But what new can we say about it at this point? I think the observation that was made, right? So the one observation that could be made by that was a video I put out last week, that in the idea that I've had of this, ABC correction happening in here and like looking for prices to get down a little bit deeper, right? So we fell $4,300 here. We got to $500 away from the box. The one observation that can be, or 2 observations that can be made about Bitcoin in particular, is that if this wave has, it's still an ABC correction, And in a zigzag ABC correction, you have waves of equal length. And this wave, wave A, is the same length as here, wave C. So they are of equal length. And the other observation to take notice of is that each time we've had these types of moves that just plunge down and head further down, the second we get the breakdown to happen, it will usually just go. And what it has done is it has held itself up really well. That's not typically what we actually end up seeing. What we typically end up seeing is we get the breakdown and off and away we go, or we get the breakdown and off and away we go. So like in this example, it's like we fell down to right here and then we just stopped and just kind of chilled out here. We broke through the supports and then we just kind of stopped. So that is an observation to take notice of. And we're just kind of creeping. We're just creeping. So above 27,000 this morning, though. So we'll take it. XRP, still, you're just creeping too? Nothing much there. All right, anything back on CoinDesk, or are we done? I think we're done over here. So, all right, that's how we're starting our morning out this morning. We had some volatility over there in the stock market. Let's see if it's cleared itself up. Nope, Dow down 120 points. Very interesting because we have the Dow down 123 points. It's down about 1/3%. We have the S&P up 3 points, which is up about 0.1%. And then you have the NASDAQ up 77 points, which is about 0.5%, about 0.5%. So you have totally mixed results happening here in the stock market with the indexes. You got the NASDAQ up pretty good, the S&P flat, and then the Dow pretty decent down. So pretty big mix over there in the markets. Whereas metals are slightly down this morning, except for platinum, which is up about 0.75%. As for stocks and the ones that are leading the day, you got Coinbase up there near the top at almost 3%, along with Meta. But gold, you do see gold pulling back after getting within like $5 of that all-time high, or $7 of that all-time high. Otherwise, crypto mostly green, but again, these prices that we're seeing currently right now are really just the prices we've been seeing for the last 2 weeks. So we're still waiting on a move to come from crypto, as we all sit here in optimism and in worry and eyeing and curious about and thinking and discussing the debt ceiling next week. So I think that's it. That's how we're starting our week. So I'm pretty excited. Yesterday was my first day off in 40 days for Blockchain Backer. So I took a day off yesterday. You guys don't see it because you may not see videos every day that I'm just I am putting in effort towards Blockchain Backer channel, but I had not had a day off in over 40 days until yesterday. I got a day off. And I played my drum show over the weekend. I had 5 songs. I had Modest Mouse Float On, 2 Linkin Park songs. I had Crawling and In the End, Gnarls Barkley, Crazy, and then had the one that you guys have seen over there on Twitter, Green Day's Warning. And I got that done. And that has been very time consuming for me. So I'm just, I'm glad that's kind of calmed down for a little bit on the drums. And then we can try to get the stuff completed that you guys are asking for, get the course done. And then as you guys are asking for merch, which I feel weird about, but you guys keep asking about it. When merch? And we'll get that stuff going. But I'm rejuvenated to have a little bit more free time, because when I'm preparing for those shows, it's 2 or 3 hours over there on the drums every single day for a couple of weeks. Paranoid that I'm going to screw up when I go on stage. So I'm happy that I have more free time now. So, all right. I don't know where I'm going with that. I just wanted to share what was going on with my life this weekend. I was very busy. It was a big event for me. It was fun as always, but I'm glad to have a little free time now. So, all right. Let's hop into the chat, guys. New Year, hey, man, right out the gates, dude. Top of the morning, BCB. Thank you. Andy Philpott says, happy May 24 weekend. It's beautiful camping here. May 24 weekend. It's beautiful camping here. Well, cool. You must be watching me while you're camping. If you would like to take a picture of yourself camping and watching BCB and then tag me on Twitter, I always love seeing that. I had a guy, I got to go find it. I'm not going to post it because I don't know if he wants me to do that or not, but I'll keep it private. Where are you? I had a guy send me a picture of me over mountains in Canada. That was awesome. That was last week. All right. Thank you, Andy. GSML, BCB for president for 2024. Actually, how about a BCB Oscar Hernandez ticket? You are a common sense type of guy. We need that. Thanks for everything. Well, thank you very much. I can tell you I have no interest in anything political at all. Yeah. I don't want anything to do with that stuff, man. I just want to chill. Thank you, GSML. Nick Egan, what are your favorite small cap coins? Oh, jeez. I don't know. It's always dangerous to do that. It's always dangerous to mention small caps because what does everybody want to do? They want to pump it. Pump and dump. Small cap. So I don't know, man. I don't really have any to rattle off for you. Thank you, though. Lengthen your lifespan says, hey, it's a first timer. Lengthen your lifespan. Hey, BC Backer, thank you so much for all you do for the community. Your dedication, honesty, and guidance are truly appreciated. Your work ethic and kindness are clearly visible. I appreciate you. Boom! That is like a monster comment. Thank you, lengthen your lifespan. That was very kind of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat and thank you for the very kind words. Kind words mean a lot. And you guys, just so you know, when you leave the kind words and comments on videos, the kind words and comments on Twitter, it's hard for me to get to all of them. It's hard for me to like all of them, but I see them all the time, and they go a long ways, dude. Being in the YouTube world, the Twitter world, and when you just get the larger your following gets, you just naturally gain more trolls and more haters and more all that stuff. And some of them are scary stalkerish. I have some that create many different accounts, and they save everything. And they are constantly like their life is dedicated to stalking me, and I'm not exaggerating. It's I have some of them that I have one guy who's been doing it for over a year, every day, new accounts, and it's just insane. Like really insane. I hope he is listening. I'm like, dude, you are crazy. But and then those voices can get loud and you just have to ignore them. But those really kind words like lifespan, lengthening your lifespan, just said they go a long way. So thank you guys very much. For a lot of you guys leave kind stuff all the day. I just want you to know it's appreciated. Seriously. Thank you. Manfredson, thank you so much. He says, hey, BCB, I love your content for over a year now. DAX, German Dow, is heading for a new all-time high for the third time within a year, despite negative news all over the place in Germany. Thoughts? Yeah, that's how it works, right? Climbing that wall of worry. So I'm guessing it's the DAX index, huh? This thing. Well, yeah, it's touching the all-time high, right? So they fell the same time stock market did, right? Look at that. Or the U.S. stock market, excuse me. Dow Jones, NASDAQ, all that good stuff. Look at that. They hit their all-time high in the last couple of days. Let's see how they did during the Great Financial Crisis. There's your back test. Didn't get very far. A perfect fib hit that happened right there, right? You got almost a fib hit right there, almost a fib hit right there. It's interesting. So like if you look at like the S&P 500 for the United States, right? So you have this whole area in here, and this is your great financial crisis. So this is, you can see this in here, 2007, 2008, and 2009. This is your great financial crisis. If you look at the Dow Jones, the Dow Jones has gotten right here. The NASDAQ has gotten right here. And then the S&P 500 has gotten right here. So you haven't gotten nearly as high in here. I'm not certain if you're going to have some type of blow off top, but the observable thing to see here is, I don't know. If you were going to go parabolic, you would think that you'd be holding some supports in here. But boy, to get back to that all-time high, that's an interesting thing to see happening in there. I'm not really sure. I'd have to spend more time looking at this and understanding what's going on with this. But I clearly see a crash, reaccumulation, and breakouts happening in here without really going very much of a full extension. So we'll see. It definitely has similarities and differences from the U.S. stock market in regards to the distance it has pushed itself out at. Not quite as far as U.S. has gotten itself. So we'll see. Very interesting. Thank you, Manfredson. Whiskey 2, like the video, get the like hype going for the week. That's right. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. All right, lengthen your lifespan. Again, hey man, in previous bull runs, XRP had large volatility swings and pullbacks over 40%. Is there a price level you would expect this to happen on its way to the 4.618 extension? Thanks in advance. That's a good thing to talk about. Let's go ahead and hypothetically play ourselves into a similar kind of bull run that XRP did in 2017. We're going to use the market cap for this one. Hello, market cap. So, again, I always have to address this. I wish that CoinTrader would fix this. But Coin Market, so everything on CoinTrader Pro is being pulled from Coin Market Cap. So there was an API issue happening in here back in March, I believe is when this is, right? Yeah, March. Many of you guys noticed it on the supply side. We spent a lot of time talking about tokenomics here over the last month or two. You may have noticed the supply has got real wacky for a lot of coins suddenly back in March. And then that got corrected. But due to the supply whack jobs that happened in there, this also has impacted the market cap of XRP on this particular page. So maybe we will do this. Excellent. We'll use this one. So we don't have that over here. What? Hard to know, man. So, like, let's do this, right? So you have a couple of things that happen in here, right? From my views of 2017 is that we were responding a lot to the actual price charts, but we've discussed this in 2021. We were responding a lot more to market caps. So if you just look at like the price chart in here, right, and you look at where were the rejections and where were the supports, right? So you can see that when XRP started firing towards that all-time high, where did it find resistance? It found resistance at the all-time high, and then it found support there on top of, the previous retracement level. So if you're going to have something like that, this is just a wild shot guess in the dark here, right? You'd expect there to be some type of volatility that would emerge in that area right in there, right? That you'd find some resistance at that all-time high, and then potentially some support there at the retracement level, which would be a breakout, right? So what do you have? You come in, you come flying in here, and you break out, but then you find resistance at your previous resistance level, and then you find support at your new breakout level, and then you can keep going, right? This is, if you're day trading that and guessing on that, good luck. I'm personally not. I'm not going to be in that scenario, but don't be fooled to think those aren't small percentages. As he just stated, there were pullbacks of over 40%. I believe this is 60%. $61% pullback that happened right in there for XRP in that big run up. Let's take it off of log. So you get it off of log scale, you can kind of see the significance of how big that move was that happened in there. So there may be. I don't know. It's something I have to spend more time on. But really, we'll have to see how fast XRP is going. We'll have to see if it's going slow, if it's going quickly, what it's doing. But I don't know. It's a long time. It's a scenario to address when the time comes. We'll see. Christina says, NVIDIA broke through the 702. Is it time to buy? God, how could people even be considering that? Yeah, so now you're through retracements, right? So here's how day traders would have traded it, right? It got through. Look at that. If you had longed it, right? Here's how a shorter would trade this, right? Short here. Stop here. That's it. So now you're in unknown waters of whether or not there's a third range boundary up higher. It's a madman. For me personally, I wouldn't touch this in a million years, but to each their own. I know this is a retail trader's dream, but obviously it did not get stopped by retracement levels. So good luck. Good luck. But is it time to buy? You're buying a big green candle. In this scenario, for me, like if I desperately had to be in this one trade, which I wouldn't, I'd likely be waiting for some type of pullback to have some type of risk management to happen again on something like this, because it seems so insanely dangerous to me. I'd probably be waiting for a pullback, and then again using another fib level as my, obviously I'd want to be targeting all-time highs, right? And then using another fib level as my safety zone here to say, all right, this thing's falling apart. But this thing has just gone down and ricocheted back up. So crazy, crazy chart. Crazy, crazy. But to say, is it time to buy? No professional would ever say yes. Right here. You could wait for like a pullback and look for like some type of entry, but you do whatever you want. For me personally, it's like not even a consideration of me to touch it, but to each their own. All right, stock market. What are you looking like? Dow down 100, Nasdaq up 50, S&P flat. Coinbase still one of the leaders of the day. Thank you, Christina. So the issue with NVIDIA, it's up to you, right? If you're a long-term holder, right, this is your chance to take your exit. This is your stop loss that's been stop loss hit. Now it's already gotten a little bit through there. So now what are you at? So if you haven't triggered a stop loss after getting through the 786, now you're taking bigger risks on more pullbacks. And let's see what our percentage is just to get back down into this area. 11%, right? So it's up to you and what your time frame is. If I was the one playing this and I had taken a trade on it, I was talking about my strategy on here, at least I have in the past, and I've already recorded it for the course, is that would have been my exit. That would have been my stop loss. And then if I would have gotten hit, right, I would have been re-entered back into the market right above the retracement level. And then I'd have to shift myself back the other way with a long position that has now been entered here and a stop below 618, targeting new all-time highs. So dangers of it when you're playing around up in here, and if you're going to re-long yourself in here, is getting your butt handed to you, washing machined. So careful. Whiskey 2 gifted 5 memberships. Dang, man. Even YouTube's notifying me saying, hey, have you seen all these memberships that are happening? Like, I don't know what's going on. Thank you, Whiskey. Janice Belize says, hey, can you take a look at Tron? It's making some moves. I did notice that today, too. I put a fib on that. So that's where you're at, right? So this is, let me read your whole question. It's making some moves. And I was checking market caps, and Bitcoin Cash is the hardest to figure out when to sell. 0x, and I understood why you will let go during 7.2. Or I can't pull up 3 different coins, my dude. I really appreciate it, Jens. Let me answer the main question you had here is with Tron. So Tron has been interesting. So Tron is one of the ones that we were talking about with XRP. When it was surprising to see XRP break down because it had the same setup here as Tron. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, we got all that off there. Right, so here is Tron. And here's XRP at the same time. As you can see, Tron has been able to hold it together the whole time. XRP not. These are all same time frames, right? We're all moving here at the same exact time frame. Then we get that big sell that happens here back in June, right? We get the capitulation moment that happens in the market May and June. XRP plows right through. Tron's still able to hold it in here and never, ever actually breaks down below that June 2021 low. This one over here, right? That XRP did get below. So it's been interesting to watch the strength of Tron being able to hold that together. Thing with Tron, I can't remember what it was recently, getting labeled as a security by the SEC. The SEC is going after Justin Sun. So there's some weird stuff and dynamics that you need to kind of keep an eye on about Tron. But in regards to the actual price action that it's doing currently right now, you can see it's back at retracement levels currently right now. Will it get a breakthrough? Possibly. Possibly. Yeah, and I hate to say it, it looks strong. You know, you've got a 2-year consolidation that has happened in here at this point. This is like deep bear market accumulation that has happened in here for Tron. We'll see if it gets through these retracements, but hate it or love it, man. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. It's just got a lot of negative narratives that go with it. So, yeah. First step. You know, it's the climbing the wall of worry, right? So it's like everything, right? So like you're at your first retracement level of all retracement levels, right? Number 1. So you're gonna have resistance in your retracement levels. Then you're gonna have resistance over here at your previous height. So can you get back and set another new high in here? Then you're gonna have retracement levels again, right? What am I doing? Retracement levels again. And then you're going to have your height again. And then you're going to have retracement levels again. And your height again. And you've got to climb that entire wall of worry before you finally get to a point where you say, hey, there's the big one. Oh, God, you have one more. And then you get to the big one. And then finally you can clear through. And this is what it's like for anybody new in this market. If you are a 2021 newbie, 2021 newbie. This is what it's like. And this is why you hear, this is why people pour into the crypto market when it's at an all-time high, is they hear all these stories. They hear Bitcoin's at a new all-time high. They hear all these stories of these people in crypto who made all this money. And you will notice that everybody piles into the market after the break at the all-time high. And that's what happens every single time. But the people who make the most money are never these people. These people are always the bag buyers, the bag holders for the next cycle. They have to go through their first bear market together. And they were chasing a 134%. Or even if you do it directly from the all-time high, which is not what usually happens, right? They hear about it on the news because they get the break. You get the weekly candle to actually break above it, and they say, huh, that's interesting. Then they hear about it again the next week, then they pour in. But even if you give them the benefit of the doubt and they said they just bought right after the all-time high, 200%. The people who made the most were the people who had to really go through the wall of worry. All the percentages were there. Just getting back to the all-time high was 520%, whereas buying after the all-time high break, 226% was your potential, whereas from the very bottom is 2,000%. So 2,000% versus 200%. There's 10x more gains made by the people who climb the wall of worry than the people who buy after the breakout of the all-time high. So you'll see it all the time. People FOMO into all-time highs. They have no idea about measurements. They just get in and YOLO. And that's what Tron is now going to go through. Is it's going to go through its wall of worry, as with every other asset out there right now. And this is the hardest part. I've been through this before. We've been through it on this channel before, in 2019 and 2020. So it's a rough road ahead, but this group of individuals that goes through the walls of worry are the ones that all the stories are written about, and it's the reason why all the people pile into the market and new all-time highs. They hear the stories about people who made a ton of money in crypto. What they don't know is it's these people are never those people. These buyers are never the ones that the stories are being written about. It's these people that the stories are being written about. So walls of worry. Here we go. We'll see if Tron gets a bigger move. But thank you, Janice. Porky Pig with a super chat wave, and it says next time. Okay, well, thank you. HJ Washington. I attended Bitcoin conference wearing my XRP shirt. The only comments were positive. The tides are turning. First time super chatter, HJ Washington. There's some alpha dropped on you there. I attended the Bitcoin conference wearing my XRP shirt, and the only comments were positive. Dude, can you believe it? Oh my gosh, being here this long, man. We've dealt with some serious garbage from the Bitcoin maxi community. But I think the Bitcoin maxi community is dying. Which they were the most toxic part of crypto. All right. Thank you, HJ Washington, for letting us all know that. Ryan Rendon, my dude, he says, let's have a great week, BCB fam from Frog. Thank you, Ryan. Good to see you, my dude. Eden Sedek says, hey, hi, BC backer. Since gold is playing out opposite from stocks and crypto, is it okay to shift some crypto profits during the bull run into gold and maybe silver? Thanks, BCB, for all your work and insights. So gold and silver only go into bull runs if historically, right? So first of all, you have to make your own decision there. I'm not going to give you financial advice on what to do there. What you could do is read all the information I put out there. I put out videos about it. I've written stuff about it. They are opposite of each other. And so timing it is difficult. And I think you will see that the timing of that is difficult merely by looking at gold and looking at silver, and that these big bull runs that have happened for them, I mean, it's not like crypto where it's like every couple of years we have something big happen. For those guys, it can be decades, right? It can be 20 years until a bull run happens. Like with gold, this right here, this period is from 2011 all the way to 2019. So this is an 8-year bear that happens right in here. Still debatable on if this is even a bull, but this period right here is an 8-year bear. And then this one right in here, this is from 1980. We'll say to here too. Say to 1980 to 1999 or to 2001. So it's 19 to 21 years. We'll say 20-year bear, right? And then when it climbs the wall of worry takes from 1999 to even just get back to the retracement level to 2006. 7 years to climb that wall of worry. So just, when people make these types of decisions, having to think to themselves, well, how much time am I willing to do for this? Am I super impatient to where I'm YOLOing into Pepe and I've just sent some dude on Twitter, some Anon on Twitter, I sent it for a bunch of money for a pre-sale that is named something dumb because I'm going to get rich off of a meme coin because I'm the first one in. If your time preference is as low as Pepe and sending an anon on Twitter money for a pre-sale, could you handle 7 years of just a retracement on gold and not knowing if you're going to get through it, and then you get through it, and then you have another 8-year bear after you barely get through the all-time high? Just time preference is for everybody, right? And I can come up with a bunch of different ideas on how high gold can go. I don't know if gold is going to go on some insane run to $20,000 or something, right? Like maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe 10. And how long will that take? What if that takes 20 years? Would you have been better off just buying treasury yields? I don't know. So, when you make that, I'm an owner of gold. It's a part of my portfolio, but like I'm an owner of cash. I'm an owner of gold and silver, and I'm an owner of crypto. So I'm just kind of like spread, right? And so that's for each person. And like, I don't mind sitting on metals for 5 years and not thinking about it. I literally never think about it. It's just not even something that comes to my thoughts that I even have it. So make sure, I do kind of always tell people that I think people should at least tell people that if you want to, and especially if you're going to be a physical metals owner, you're already going to take a hit right out the gates when you buy it. Like you're going to buy it and you're going to buy it for above spot price, especially gold. You're going to spend between like 3 to 5% above spot price. And then when you try to sell it back, you're probably going to get anywhere from spot to 5% below spot. So like go ahead and take that math and run it right there. If you buy it for about 5% above spot, and then you're going to sell it for 5 below spot, the second you get into the game, you're upside down 10% on gold immediately, especially if you're a physical metals buyer, because you're going to buy it for more than spot and they're only going to pay you less than spot to buy it back from you. So you need that price to go up really high. So if your time preference is 5 months, 6 months, or 1 year, just reevaluate the game. Like know the game you're getting into with metals. Like I do think S is going to hit the fan one day, and like I just have my S hits the fan stash. You know what I mean? So like and hopefully it never hits the fan. But I have it. You know what I mean? So, up to you. But just, I always do that. I do always do that. I do always shift some of my crypto profits into gold and silver because I can sit on it for a decade and not care. Jason Sanders. Thank you, Eden. Jason Sanders says, hey, can you speak about Solo and where you think it could go based on the charts? I've always had an unfavorable opinion of Solo. I've always said 0. That's my thought. And the Corium thing, too. There's no reason to pull it up and say anything else except that's what I think. I don't want to give it any attention on the channel. Sorry, Jason. That's my thoughts. I've been consistent with that. I'll pull it up on another page. Let's see, how is it done since I've said I think it's going to 0? When is the last time we brought it up? There's Corium. That's the expectation, trending towards 0. Here's Sologenic. Here's where it got listed on Uphold and then lost 50% of its value immediately as it got dumped on retail afterwards. And then when we all got airdropped it by holding whatever we had to hold at that time. What'd you have to hold? Songbird or something? I don't remember what you had to hold at that time. It was $5, and then they dumped it by 90% before distributing it out to people. So when they got it, the whole thing's just been shady as F since the beginning. I'm not a fan. I know they pay content creators too to do marketing. So I'm not a fan. Oscar Hernandez says, keep it up. Thank you, sir. Technic says, can you check out the... I don't know what that is, bro. Man, BCB's brutal, huh? All right, what are you asking for? You said it's been around since the Great Depression. Why don't I know what it is? You're... Well, I mean, I don't have it since the Great Depression. I got it in here. Dude, that chart is crazy, though. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's like the trucking stuff, right? Uniforms, mats, mops, cleaning, restroom supplies, first aid, and safety products. Something that every company still needs, right? Look at this thing. Look at this guy just never quitting. CTAS. I bet it's way above fibs. Yeah, that's an interesting one, man. That one just keeps on going, huh? Look at that thing. Oh, man, it's most certainly parabolic. I mean, you can see what happens in parabolas, right? Even these parabolas do stop. It's definitely gotten parabolic. Hard to imagine that the bulk of the move isn't done with it. I mean, just in... It's up 1,600% in the last 10 years. That's a pretty good ROI. Yeah, but I mean, it could have a blow off top happening in here, but there's no question it's parabolic. And measuring from a measure standpoint, just to guess on these phases, I'd guess there's probably a blow off to happen in here. Not certain how high it would get, but I wouldn't imagine higher than 720. And it is just, it's very parabolic. So, don't know. That's one I would... this isn't the type of stuff I play in once it's already this parabolic. Once things are, up really high, this is where either I've been in, and I'm selling into this rise, or I'm out. And in this case, I'm not in. I am out, but I was never in. Unfortunately, I missed that one. Never even looked at that chart before. Oh my God, he's using you guys for exit liquidity. Not sure if you're talking about an altcoin holder, but otherwise, or an altcoin shiller. But otherwise, thanks for your money, Amberlyn Reed. Technic G says, I hope CTAS can hit $800. Would that be the top? Okay, I think I just answered your question. There's your next super chat. Thank you, Technic. Sick Thinker, you gifted 5 subs. My gosh, the record the other day was like a week ago was like 16, and you guys came in and were insane with like 37 or something. My wife even said, "Hey, did you see what happened today?" I said, "Yeah, that was nuts." Thank you, Sick Thinker. Brandon Goad, it was super chat, but didn't say anything. Thank you, Brandon. James V says, love you, BCB. Been here since 2020. My favorite in the space. Thank you, man. Truly appreciate you. Thank you, James, for the super kind words and super chat. Thank you, sir. Munir Hale says, do you think Filecoin is following a crashing structure? I think this is Filecoin right here. So I've been of the opinion that the crashing structure actually completed back here. That we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that phase happened right here, and then our FTX capitulation gave us the final wave down in here. With this, obviously there has to be that worry, but it is normal to also pull back up to there. So let me show you an example. Let's go to Bitcoin. So here is Bitcoin's crashing structure in the end of the 2018 bear market. Right. Let's get rid of some stuff so it's easier to see. I'll get rid of the arrow. So my thoughts have been that we've actually already completed it. And we've been working much longer than the crash did for Bitcoin back then. But here you are. Here you are. Then Bitcoin, long and boring and grueling, ABC. And that's what we've been working on over here. Long and grueling ABC. So my thoughts have been that we are bottoming. The biggest problem with Filecoin, the problem I have, did we just have like, I think even last week the SEC came out and said Filecoin's a security. No, what happened? Was it Grayscale? They were going to do something with Filecoin and they had to stop because the SEC told them that Filecoin was a security. You have 133% annual inflation on Filecoin, which is just unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. And then last week, I think they even got hit with the security status. But either way, my thoughts have been that, so like alternatively, what I can see what your thought process is. Your thought process is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rolls back up to wave 4 within wave 5, right? And then now we go on for 7, but I don't think that was the case. I think it was actually back here. I think we've already had it. And another way to see that would be here on Filecoin's market cap. Okay. So our spring phase, as we've talked about, occurred back in when FTX collapsed, right? So this would have been our spring back here. So obviously we dipped lower, and we dipped lower, but whatever. These are the same structures happening in here. Let me show you also Bitcoins, and I've written a newsletter about this, and I've actually shown it on the YouTube channel before. And this is why I'm kind of like, oh my God, Filecoin, why do you have to have a 133% annual inflation? So you can see here, this is how long it took for the capitulation to happen for Filecoin, which is where we see most signals throughout the market. This is still where the altcoin market bottomed back in these areas in here. And you can see this over here on Bitcoin back in 2014, that we took 405 days to get down, and then we took 409 days for Bitcoin back in 2014. And you can just see the same things that have occurred in here. This is a perfect crashing structure occurring in here. One of the discussions that we've also had a lot on this YouTube channel, I'm not going to run through it a lot, and just has been with Bitcoin, right? That when you look throughout this market and you look at Bitcoin, God, I have to do it. If I can't just say I'm not going to do it, or else people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Just that our indicators all pointed to that the top of Bitcoin, from on-chain activity and from market behavior activity, actually occurred back in here, back in April, right? When Coinbase actually IPO'd. We can see the complete fall off in the indicators. You see the relative strength absolutely fell off of a cliff. Stochastic RSI fell off of a cliff at the same time. We go back to 2018, you could see that, how that marked the top for Bitcoin back then. See how the top gets marked here and the RSI falls off of a cliff. We have the stochastic RSI fall off of a cliff here in December of 2017 when the top of Bitcoin actually ends up coming in. It's the same thing that we had happen for Bitcoin back in here. And it's the same thing that we're seeing for Filecoin. It's the same thing we saw for XRP, that we had a little run that happened right here, and then the market stopped after that. That we didn't go into these new highs that ended up showing up in here. And we could see the market behavior of even Filecoin in here, and then going into Wyckoff accumulation that last in here. So we saw that it took 405 days for Filecoin to capitulate. It took 409 days for Bitcoin to capitulate. We go into Wyckoff accumulation happening in here. Where do we, we could say here's the moment where we get a pop. Let's go over here. Here's one where we get a pop. How long or how many days are we here? So we're 298 days here. We're 281 days here in Wyckoff accumulation. So, when you're in a crashing structure, this would just, it has already done it. It would just be an odd crashing structure to continue lasting this long and then go down and do it one more time. The appearance of it appears that it has already happened back in here, that we've already had that moment happen. So my personal thoughts are no. I think that has actually already occurred, and that was our FTX capitulation. The FTX capitulation showed up at the perfect time in the market to shake everybody out right at the 7th wave. Porky Pig says, any thoughts or analysis for two things I've never heard? Before you say, you never heard of that, there's thousands of coins out there. Let me see what this is. Okay. Talking about Arweave. Looks dead. Looks like the rest of crypto. I don't follow Arweave, so I don't know anything about it. And then what's this one? And then I don't follow this one either. I don't follow this. I don't know if this is good, bad, whatever. It's on Coinbase, but look, it looks exactly like it. So whenever people ask me about this, I'm like, look, your coin looks exactly like every other coin. Like we were just talking about over there with Filecoin, right? You got the same thing that's happened here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rolls back up. Then you go on and you have your final wave, right? And so you take out the low and then you pull back up. And then what do we typically see in here? We see these A, B, C's. They're long and grueling. And this could even continue like that for a long time. But what these structures typically do is they go like that. This coin in particular is not exhibiting any behavior any differently from the rest of the market. We see this actually everywhere. So it just looks like normal stuff out there, but it's exhibiting bottoming accumulations happening in this. Whether or not it's set for higher prices or not, the world will determine that. But yeah, it looks just like everything else. Daryl Lonzaga says, I finally got brave enough to super chat. Awesome content as always. Daryl, I've been waiting for you, man. I've been sitting here just saying, I know there's a guy lurking right now who needs to come out and say hi. Thank you for finally doing it, my man. Appreciate it. Give it up for Daryl Lonzaga. Put him on the spot. I'll even type a little frog for you. There's a frog in the chat. Thank you, Daryl. And then another first timer, you got Crypto Pigeon. How low do you think XRP goes before? And also, have you ever seen a baby pigeon? Interesting questions. Crypto Pigeon has asked me if I've ever seen a baby pigeon. I can say I probably have never seen a baby pigeon. Daryl said, thanks, man. I have never seen a baby pigeon. And how low do I think XRP goes before? And then no follow-up to that. That was the end of the sentence. I think I've talked about this quite a few times on the situations of where we're at right now. So, that's where we are. I'd say, I don't even know if these wicks are really even real, right? Lower 30s is, I think, is as low as we could go. If we got the lower 30s, I'd be doing some irresponsible stuff. I know that. So, But if you haven't watched any of my XRP videos to see all the thoughts and all the things and all the TA on XRP, I'd recommend that you do. So I talk about all the different stuff that's happening in here currently right now. You're sitting on top of your 200-day moving average right now. And we've seen this be supportive after a capitulative phase. This is kind of like our C19 sell-off that we had. And we have seen support holds on these things before. However, still, as you know, we've been really just following along with the typical spring phase of accumulation here for XRP for quite some time. And even the pop that we saw last week, which everybody gets excited about saying Hinman emails, it still didn't deviate away from the same market structure. It didn't set a new high, even on Elliott wave counts, like we pointed to last week. Even if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is typically what you're going to do before you do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is exactly what even our price behavior in here did. So we envision that these are how simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s are going to look. But you could see this is, that's what the price behavior can look like for them. And this was some sloppy price behavior that happened back here, but this is what this is. I can even wave count it in here pretty good. You can see an A, B, C, and then you can see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the thing I'm watching for like a hawk right now. Is that it's still, even if the support level is going to hold, when we've done similar things like this before, we've come back and revisited these levels again to test them for quite a bit. And then it'll be about watching. Do we get a nice little break and close above that, below that 200-day moving average? If we get a break and close below the 200-day moving average, that's where I'm going to be like, all right, here we go. We're waiting for it. We're waiting for that big flush to come. And as you saw with FTX, what typically comes is, and then we just pointed to on the 7th wave, what happens is some big major news comes, right? Something happens to shake people out. It gets them to question what they're doing. And so I'd be paying attention for any type of news, but that the charts say news, right? The chart says news here. Something that breaks. Whenever you see someone on Twitter post this trend line and say we broke the trend line, you do whatever you want to do. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that's as low as we can go. I don't think we can go below 30. If we go below 29, right? If we close below 29 cents, there's just bigger problems in general. I've seen so many people call for those lower prices, and like they just aren't acknowledging the fundamental technical and not fundamental technical problems with the chart that would happen should you get a break below 29 and a close below 29 cents. And I've seen back here how many people were calling for 22 cents, and then again they did it here. So I don't know where they're getting it, because it's just like I say about people being brainwashed, they all regurgitate the same thing. I don't know where they were getting it from. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that at all. So 30. I think it's as low as it can go. I really think it's 32, 31, and maybe even 34. I don't know. For me, I'm waiting for this flush down in here. So like I put 10% in here. First of all, when I say put 10%, I mean I have like a certain amount of cash that I want to put in the market. I put 10% of that into XRP, or I have a certain amount of money I want to put into XRP. I put 10% of that in right in here, which means I increased my XRP bag by a whopping 2%. And I will put 40% of that cash in right in here. So if I can get that to happen, probably at about 38.5 cents, I'll put 40% of that in. And then if I can get a flush down to these levels down in here at probably 34 to 34.5 cents, I'll put the remaining 50%. I'll be all in. All in, YOLO. And if all of that cash does get deployed into XRP, it will increase my portfolio of XRP by 20%. So just so you guys kind of an idea. I'm mega long, even though I'm expecting prices pulling back. I'm mega long. So, this is my investment portfolio. I've held this thing for years. All right, so we're getting a little bit of tide change happening over here in the stock market. We can see that the Dow is down 140%, the Nasdaq is up 34 points, S&P is down 2 points. So still, you got the Nasdaq up about 0.25%, but it was up 0.5% earlier this morning. S&P is still just flat, but the Dow down 145 points this morning, down 0.43%. We're seeing anything happening in metals. Not a whole lot of change over there in metals. Let's see if these guys have say we need to be worried about the debt ceiling now. And they said S&P is flat now. It said we were up as we're monitoring the debt ceiling. Now it says we're flat. But okay, that's going to be our news for the week. It's going to be the big thing everybody's keeping their eyes on is the debt ceiling. So, all right, crypto pigeon super traded again, but the message was retracted. All right, how you guys in the chat? You guys doing good? Let me check on you here. Tame day today, huh? Just a wen moon. That's what I'm saying, Bri. That's what I'm saying, dude. I come on here just waiting for you guys to tell me in the chat, man. Crypto Pigeon says, thanks for the answer, BCB. I'm currently a 50x leverage short from 47.15, from 47 cents on XRP. I'll probably take profit around 40 cents. You have my permission to tell me off. Oh my gosh, you're nuts. You're nuts. I mean, I don't know how people can degen like that. 50x. All right, so you're to understand what that person did there, what Crypto Pigeon did from 47.15, right? So you, in order to not get yourself completely liquidated, the price was only allowed to rise 4%. If the price would have risen 4%, you would have been fully liquidated. 50x. Yeah. Right? Or no, is it only 1? Is it only 2%? I think it's only 2%. Right? 2%. Yes, of course. Of course we do. Everybody's the man. Evan Casey says he has it from 47.65. He has it from even higher than the highest wick, 50x leverage short. Yeah, 50x is 2%. Yeah, 2%. If the price would have risen 2%, liquidation. Evan Casey is so dang good. He's got his entry in. Even higher. He shorted it higher than the price even went. Tight stop loss, boys. Yeah, y'all are crazy. All right, guys. Is sweet a good deal? I don't think it's like an insanely good deal. SUI. I would so I own a little bit, but it's not like I haven't had like the kahunas to like go serious at it yet. I think the serious price for me would be like if you get 50 or 60 cents, which is still like above $1. But if it was like 50 or 60 cents, I'd say, all right, I'll stop playing. I'll be a little more real with it. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this thing up, man. It's getting late. What are we at? An hour and a half on a Monday? It's crazy. I'm excited to be back from the weekend. I'm excited that just I have more time now. And I know you guys probably don't understand that. I've been so busy, and a major part of my life, the time just freed up massively. So I'm just excited to spend more time with Blockchain Backer and not have to really sprinkle things into weekends to kind of keep up with everything. Now it can just be more consistent for me. I'm super happy. So, all right, that's it. I'm wrapping it up. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want to thank you guys for always tuning in. We always have over 1,000 people in here every single time. Guys, you guys are always here. I appreciate it so much. I'm wrapping it up. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one, guys.